You remember the sound of dial-up internet. You also have a smartphone in your pocket right now. You grew up passing notes in class. You also watched social media slowly swallow the world. You are not Gen Z. You are not a millennial. At least, not in the way people mean when they say that word. You are something in between. And psychology has finally started to understand what that did to your mind. The analog blueprint. You were the last generation to have a childhood with no internet, no phones, no screens, no one watching. If you were bored, you stayed bored until you figured out how not to be. Psychologists call this the development of an internal locus of control. It is the belief, built slowly through years of experience, that you, not luck, not other people, not an algorithm, are responsible for what happens to you. A 1998 review in the journal Psychological Bulletin found that children raised in low supervision environments with high autonomy developed significantly stronger internal locus of control scores than their more supervised peers. In plain language, being left to figure things out made you someone who figures things out. You did not learn that in school. You learned it on a Saturday afternoon when no one was home and you had to. The digital pioneer burden. Then the internet arrived. And unlike every generation after you, you remember the before. You remember when a mistake happened and then it was over. It faded. People forgot. Life moved on. You were the first generation to learn that was no longer true. Researchers at the University of California, Berkeley published findings in 2004 showing that the first wave of internet adopters, people who went online between 1995 and 2003, developed what they described as a dual digital consciousness, an awareness that the online world was powerful and useful, combined with an instinctive unease about overexposure that younger digital natives simply never developed because they never knew a world without it. You did. That is why you pause before you post. That is why you curate what you share. That is why something about constant visibility has always felt slightly wrong to you, even when you couldn't name why. You are not paranoid. You are the only generation that remembers what privacy actually felt like. If you have ever felt like you exist between two worlds, too old for some conversations, too young for others, hit subscribe.
We are building something here for the people who remember both worlds. And drop a heart in the comments if you remember the sound of dial-up internet. Let us see how many of us are still out there. The economic scar. Most of you graduated into the worst economic period in living memory. The 2008 financial crisis did not just damage your bank account, it rewired your relationship with security. A 2013 study published in the American Economic Review found that people who entered the workforce during a recession showed measurably different risk tolerance and financial behavior for up to 20 years afterward. Not because they were weak, because they were paying attention. You watched people do everything right. Good degree, steady job, followed every rule, and lose everything anyway. So you did not stop being ambitious. You became what researchers call pragmatically optimistic. You hope for the best, but you always have a backup plan, and another one after that. That is not pessimism. That is what it looks like when intelligence meets experience. The generation nobody claimed. Here is something nobody talks about. Elder Millennial do not fully belong anywhere. Gen X does not fully claim you. Younger Millennial do not fully understand you. Gen Z looks at you like you're from another planet. And for a long time, researchers didn't even have a name for what you were. Some sociologists now call it the Xennial microgeneration. Others call it the Oregon Trail generation, named after the computer game that defined your early relationship with technology. But what matters is not the label. What matters is what that in-between position did to your psychology. Research on boundary-spanning identities, people who exist between defined social groups, consistently shows they develop higher cognitive flexibility, the ability to hold two conflicting ideas at once and find the truth in both. You can sit with a Gen X colleague and understand their skepticism. You can sit with a Gen Z intern and understand their anxiety. You are the translator, the bridge. And bridges never get named in the history books. They just hold everything together. Elder millennials are not a lost generation. They are a translation generation. They carry the weight of the analog world and the speed of the digital one. They remember what it felt like to be unreachable, and they know exactly what it costs to always be on. They are not confused. They are calibrated, built by two worlds to understand both, at a depth that neither world fully appreciates. If you want to understand the psychological cost of always being the bridge, watch this video right here. I'll see you there.